They spotted Daniel, disheveled and wandering aimlessly, looking tired, dirty and unkempt. Shocked and saddened by his condition, they rushed him to a psychiatric hospital for urgent care. The doctors diagnosed Daniel with a severe mental illness, a result of his overwhelming grief and obsession with Ifeoma. Once upon a time, in a big city full of busy streets and tall buildings, there was a young man named Daniel. He was from a rich family, with his dad owning lots of buildings and his mom managing some of them. Even though Daniel was grown up, he didn't have a say in the house as his parents' decisions influenced his because of their wealth. Daniel had a special feeling for a girl named Ifeoma. She made the most delicious akara and sold it by the roadside. Ifeoma lived with her mom and brother in a small apartment. Every single day, Daniel made sure to go and buy some akara from Ifeoma. It wasn't just because he was hungry, but because he couldn't stand being away from her for even a day. Daniel would often sit and chat with Ifeoma while she prepared the akara. He loved hearing about her day and sharing stories of his own. Ifeoma, though appreciated Daniel's company, always wondered about his parents and what they would do when they find out about Daniel's frequent visits to her. She admired his kindness and generosity, but despite her concerns, she couldn't deny the flutter of her heart whenever Daniel was around. Their friendship blossomed into something deeper, but Ifeoma couldn't shake the feeling that their different backgrounds might pose a challenge. Their love blossomed more and more each day. Daniel couldn't help but feel happier whenever he was with Ifeoma, and she felt the same way about him. One day, Daniel's father found out about their relationship. He didn't like it at all. Right away, he told Daniel to stop seeing Ifeoma with immediate effect. His father believed Ifeoma wasn't in Daniel's class and warned him to stop seeing her. However, Daniel's heart remained stubborn and he continued to meet Ifeoma secretly. Ifeoma too loved Daniel but was troubled by his parents' disapproval. She cautioned Daniel to stop seeing her, fearing the consequences. But despite her warnings, Daniel couldn't stay away from her. One day, Daniel's father had traveled, but then his flight was cancelled, which made him come back to the house. He caught Daniel with Ifeoma in their living room. He was furious and disappointed. Without saying a word, he stormed out, leaving Daniel and Ifeoma stunned. Daniel's father devised a plan to get rid of Ifeoma. He hired a group of men to kidnap her and threatened to harm her if she didn't stay away from Daniel. Ifeoma was taken far away and Daniel was left clueless about her disappearance. Desperate to find Ifeoma, Daniel visited her house, but her family didn't know where she was. They sought help from the police, but Daniel's father's wealth silenced them. Meanwhile, Ifeoma found herself held captive in a remote location surrounded by bushes. Determined to escape, she bided her time, waiting for the right moment. One night, when only two kidnappers were on duty and asleep, Ifeoma seized the chance. She grabbed what she could and fled into the darkness, leaving the kidnappers bewildered. As Ifeoma ran, fear and adrenaline pumping through her veins, she stumbled upon a kind-hearted man named Jacob. He took her in, offering her shelter and protection. Ifeoma found herself living with Jacob and his family. She cared for Jacob's young son, helping with chores and running errands. Though she longed to reunite with her family, but she couldn't just leave Jacob's house. Grateful for the job and shelter he provided for her. Months passed, and Daniel's heartache only deepened as he longed for Ifeoma. His father urged him to move on, but Daniel refused, declaring that no one could replace Ifeoma in his heart. Determined to find her, he embarked on a search, haunted by visions of her that tormented his mind. Each day, Daniel scoured the streets, searching tirelessly for any trace of Ifeoma. But despite his efforts, she remained elusive. The relentless pursuit took its toll on Daniel, draining him emotionally, physically, and mentally. He couldn't escape the grip of his obsession with Ifeoma. One fateful day, Daniel disappeared while searching for Ifeoma. His worried mother fretted, but his father remained stoic, believing that Daniel would be fine. Days turned into weeks, and his father's hope waned. Finally, they agreed to give it one more week before launching a search for their son. As they combed the streets with police escorts, hope flickered. Then on the second day of searching, they spotted Daniel, disheveled and wandering aimlessly, looking tired, dirty and unkempt. Shocked and saddened by his condition, they rushed him to a psychiatric hospital for urgent care. The doctors diagnosed Daniel with a severe mental illness, a result of his overwhelming grief and obsession with Ifeoma. For weeks, he remained under their care, unable to care for himself. After a grueling 6 weeks, Daniel's condition began to improve, and the doctors deemed him fit to return home. During the journey home, Daniel spotted someone who resembled Ifeoma, and he insisted that they stopped the car. His parents, afraid for his mental health, immediately stopped the car. To his astonishment, it was Ifeoma, cradling a baby in her arms. At first, he was taken aback, thinking that Ifeoma had gotten married and had a child. But when he asked her about it, Ifeoma explained that the baby was Jacob's, not hers. Daniel felt a mix of relief and concern. Overwhelmed with emotion, Daniel rushed to her side, unable to believe she was real. Their tearful reunion stirred deep emotions as they embraced. Their love rekindled in an instant. Ifeoma explained that she had been kidnapped and not vanished willingly. Daniel's father hung his head in shame, regretting his actions. Daniel pleaded to take Ifeoma home, and his father, consumed by guilt, reluctantly agreed. At home, Ifeoma revealed the truth about her disappearance. Daniel's father, burdened by guilt, confessed to his son and Ifeoma. Daniel proposed a deal with his father. "I will forgive you in exchange for marriage to Ifeoma." Daniel's father was shocked. Despite his shock, Daniel's father agreed, eager to make amends with his son and Ifeoma. After all the troubles and worries, Daniel's father and Daniel went to apologize to Ifeoma's family for the pain and heartbreak they had caused them. Daniel's father rented a new apartment for her family and changed her mother's job. Daniel and Ifeoma finally found happiness together. One evening, Daniel took Ifeoma out to a fancy restaurant. As they enjoyed their meal, Daniel's heart was racing with excitement. He couldn't wait any longer. Suddenly, he got down on one knee and pulled out a shiny ring. "Ifeoma, will you marry me?" he asked, his voice filled with love. Ifeoma's eyes widened in surprise, but then a big smile spread across her face. "Yes, yes, Daniel, I'll marry you," she exclaimed, tears of joy sparkling in her eyes. Daniel jumped in excitement, feeling like the happiest man in the world. They hugged tightly, knowing that their love was strong enough to overcome any obstacle. After their wonderful evening at the restaurant, Daniel drove Ifeoma home. Bustling with excitement, he couldn't wait to share the good news with his parents. But when he told them about his proposal and Ifeoma's acceptance, they were overjoyed to see their son happy. "Congratulations, Daniel and Ifeoma. We are so happy for you both," his parents exclaimed, their faces beaming with pride. With the wedding planning underway, Daniel and Ifeoma's love continued to grow stronger each day. Ifeoma, who also got an employment in Daniel's mom's company, showcasing her intelligence and hard work. As the wedding day approached, excitement filled the air. Friends and families gathered to celebrate the union of Daniel and Ifeoma, showering them with love and blessings. It was a beautiful ceremony filled with laughter, joy, and happiness. After exchanging vows and sealing their love with a kiss, Daniel and Ifeoma embarked on their journey together as husband and wife. With love as their guide, they faced whatever challenges that came their way, knowing that they had each other's backs. The moral of this story is that true love knows no boundaries. Despite facing obstacles and challenges, Daniel and Ifeoma's love for each other remained strong. Their perseverance, forgiveness, and willingness to overcome difficult times together led them to find happiness. So it teaches us that love conquers all, and with that, patience and understanding, we can overcome any obstacle in our path to finding true happiness and love. Thanks for watching this captivating story on African stories and folktales. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories. Thank you.